takes a lot of emotional regulation, not even just the emotional intelligence and maturity to get to that point, but to be able to get to the point where, because our natural reaction is to get into defense mode. It is a natural human reaction.
Once you're attacked.
Yeah, because when you're in a relationship, right, and your partner comes to you with something that is like, I'm dissatisfied or I'm angry or I'm upset,
But
right?
that's not critical.
But you get
in the
defensive.
defense.
So how do you get your clients to get to the point where they can regulate some of those emotions?
Okay, so I think that we're having a misconception of what defensiveness looks like. If I attack you, you're gonna defend yourself. If I'm criticizing you, you're gonna defend yourself. So me saying you're selfish, you don't care about us, you don't care about this family, it's going to force you to defend yourself because that's the human reaction to being criticized. But if I'm saying I feel neglected and undesired, I'm not attacking you. So your need to defend yourself is not as high as the previous statement.
But still there, though.
That's not necessarily
Some
true.
of it is there, but not to the same degree that you feel like you want to tell me that I'm wrong.
Wait, time out. Because every man is gonna tell you, listen, we've been in relationships that we've went about this way, and even it got to a point in my personal life, previous relationship, where I was like, yo, you know what? How I try to speak to this person, they don't receive it. I called my best friend. I said, yo, you already know what's going on. You know the situation. You might be able to say things differently than me, right? And we can say things differently with no attacking, no you words, no direct words. Everything is going to be on my end. And it still can be taken as an attack.
Don't tell me, show me. So make
so
a
what-
statement right now.
So what I'm saying is, wait,
No, I'm here. I got you.
breathe. So let's say if I said I felt neglected, I felt you didn't, or I felt I was not being heard in the conversation that X, Y, and Z happened. And the first thing that always happens is, so you're saying,
Yeah,
so you're saying I don't understand you?
correct.
And then and what I'm trying to say is now with what Marie is saying is it's not emotional regulation on one side. It's emotional regulation on both sides. Because I can do all the practice that I want. I could use all the proper precautionary words and vocabulary. But if the person still deems it as an attack, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I say a lot of things and people say a lot of things and women hear only one part of it and then turn it to a whole nother thing. And always my first question is that what you got from what I said? And then we try to unpack the whole thing. So
Excellent.
the emotional regulation is not always on the guy's side.
Agreed.
And I think that that's one thing that we have to be understood, because in my notes that I've taken,
He was down there
I heard
scribbling.
a lot of things, and I'm like, whoa. So one of the key things that you said was feeling words, right?
Yes, sir.
And my issue with feeling words is usually, first of all, people know how I feel about the word feelings. You know, usually the feelings are derived, basically a social construct of what you should feel or how you should take certain things that are being said. It's all a social construct, which then becomes a one-sided thing. Because now if I say X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be, one woman can deem it this way, one woman can deem it that way, and now I'm literally the person trying to figure out, how do I speak to this person? And sometimes it doesn't matter how you speak to a person, whether or not, doesn't matter how you speak to a person, because whether or not, whichever avenue you go, they cannot receive it the way that it needs to be received.
Good point. Good point. And that's why it's called couples therapy, right? Not only am I coaching you how to identify your feelings and how to express yourself, but I'm also instructing your partner on the proper way to respond, right? Because that's not natural to us,
Yeah.
right? It's not natural. It's not natural hearing how my behaviors impacted you. I automatically want to say, no, that's not true, because from my perspective, it's not true. But we're not speaking of agreement, right? So a lot of couples tend to get stuck on the validation because they're arguing agreement. So you're right. You can try your best and be the best communicator in the world, right? And label and do all of the steps that I said at first. But if your partner doesn't learn how to listen and how to respond, then it's not going to be effective. Hence the term.
He's telling the truth here. He's telling nothing but the truth. When it comes to communicating, even if you do everything right in the communication, when it comes to expressing yourself, articulating that, you know what, you hurt my feelings, I feel neglected in this area. When you do this, I'm not trying to upset you, I'm just letting you know what offends me. Still, if you say everything the right way, it's not going to work if a person is just listening to respond, just ready to attack, just ready to be defensive. And this is because, to be honest with you, a lot of us don't know how to communicate because we have never been taught how to communicate. We've never seen it in our households. So if you never seen good communication between a man and a woman, a mom and a dad, or your uncle and your aunt, you're going to struggle too unless you go and get the therapy or just the understanding that you need the mentoring from someone that knows how to communicate. This happens all the time, and this is the issues that we're having. Let's continue.
Couples therapy. All of the partners in the relationship must be present because the knowledge and the skill must be applied to everyone.
And I say that, and I'm so glad you said that. So I say all of this and bring in full circle because one of the things that was mentioned was that men don't, and it's not verbatim, but men have the hardest time, being vocal with women. And I said this on a previous podcast. It's really not that. The real thing is we're vocal, but not in the way that they're able to digest it.
To decipher.
Yeah, decipher, receive, and execute. And I feel like that's unfair because for a long time we weren't able to understand women. In fact, I don't even think men understand women right now, right? So nobody understands each other. So when it comes to being able to communicate and receive it, and what was the word that you used instead of receive?
Validate.
No,
Decipher.
Decipher what's actually being said per person. So a lot of things that we go ahead and we try to run with narratives because we talk about, averages. And there's so many variables that play along with these averages. And the biggest variable that plays along is just the simple fact that it's actually a miscommunication and the inability to decipher on both sides. And maybe, not me because I'm great, people should start seeking therapy before they become a couple.
So on average, couples wait 6 years too late before going to couples therapy, right? So I am used to seeing a lot of couples where divorce is the next step, and they're just checking
Trying to
this
save it.
box. Communication is a skill and it's a science, something that